Hi everyone, I'm Michael Krulik with Avid's Product Marketing, and guess what? It's that time of year again. Pumpkin spice. Actually, it's time for the next release of Avid Media Composer, Media Composer 2022.10, where we continue to help those who might be new to the software, as well as adding functionality for those who've been using it for years. Many of those editors were recently honored with nominations and wins at the Creative Emmy Awards for shows like A Black Lady Sketch Show, Insecure, Euphoria, Hacks, Ted Lasso, Only Murders in the Building, Deadliest Catch, and so many more. So congratulations to all of you. But let's go ahead and jump into the latest features in Avid Media Composer 2022.10. We know that there are editors and content creators that may just be starting their journey with Media Composer and coming from other NLEs. Well, we've added some functionality to help you get you on your way. Just a little side note, if you were not aware, in Media Composer 2022.7, we added default keyboard layouts for Adobe Premiere Pro and Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve. This way, in your user settings, you can actually set up a default keyboard that may be familiar with some software that you already know. Now, when you also start a new project from the Project Management window, you can select a new Choose For Me checkbox. Rather than selecting the project format and frame rate before you even start getting footage, Choose For Me will let you select your project format and frame rate from the media that you link to while you're in your project. You'll see this coming up shortly. You'll also notice as a new Choose For Me project is open, we provide passive hints to guide a new editor through the UI. Media Composer will create 2 bins for you as default, one for your clips and one for sequences. You can always change these later and rename them and even add more, but this is just a starting point if you choose to go this route. The background of these clean panels now include these passive hints or directions for what you should do next. For example, the bin window contains a passive hint to drag from the source browser to add clips to your project. And the timeline instructs you to drag clips here to start editing. Project creation takes place when you add your first media file into your empty timeline. At that point, you'll be prompted by the file's actual raster size and frame rate, where you can choose to use that if it's presented to you, or you can choose to change it at this point. If the Choose For Me checkbox is not selected, you have access to the typical way of creating a project in Media Composer, enabling you to select your format, frame rate, and color space right up front. Bin metadata tooltips provide a quick view of the duration, format, and creation date of a clip while you're viewing your frames in your bin. Simply hover over the frame and presto, the desired data appears. In Media Composer 2022.10, we've also improved the relinking process to simplify the workflow. Now, we are aware that as you consolidate or move media between systems, changes may be made to a file's path, and media connections may be lost. We now provide 2 options in the relink menu to use the original relink method for managed media, or use the new relink method for linked media. The new relink menu can be launched from within a bin, or from the project or bin container sidebar menu. Simply right-click on a bin or selected clips inside of the bin and choose Relink Linked Media to launch the new Linked Media dialog. In a new window, unlinked media from your selection will be shown in red. You can select your clips. When you're ready to relink, choose Locate Media, navigate to the folder where your media files actually reside, and click Choose. Media Composer will look for the original media within the directory and reestablish the broken file paths. And again, you could also select the bin in the project or bin container sidebar menu, right-click, and relink from here as well. And let's take a look at a way to speed up the process of creating sequences with the introduction of sequence templates. Right-click in your timeline and choose Create Sequence Template. From here, give it a new name and start creating from the default layout. From here, you can hit subtract or the minus to get rid of any tracks, or hit plus on the data, video, or audio tracks to add any tracks. From here on the audio side, we can also click on the speaker icon to choose stereo, 5.1, or 7.1 for a specific track design. And if we want to add any names, we simply go to where it says name your track. We'll call this the title track. We'll have maybe a color correction track, and maybe this is some effects. And then for audio, we could also do nat sound, stereo music, and so on. So from this default layout, we have a new name. I hit save. And now when I want to go in and use that newly designed sequence template, simply go to the timeline menu, new, sequence, and choose the new template. You'll see the new sequence with the template that I designed actually comes up and lets me start creating. As you know, you can design your workspaces and UI with as many panels and bins as you would like. But using your mouse or other pointing device requires that you take your hands off of the keyboard. With this new release, you have new keyboard shortcuts to cycle through your open panels and tabs, enabling you to quickly select any floating or tabbed open windows with a simple keystroke. To move between your open panels and windows on a PC, hold down Control and hit the up and down arrow keys, or on a Mac, hold Command and hit the up and down arrow keys. To select any of your tabbed bins, simply hold down Control on a Mac and PC and hit the Tab key. Being able to gang a group of faders in the mixer usually allows you to adjust the levels or panning of a group, but previously this was limited to just a single group. Now you can create up to 10 ganged groups defined by different colors. You can select the individual groups and easily assign them to other groups without having to tediously select each audio track independently. An over-the-shoulder experience was recently introduced with Media Composer Ultimate and Media Composer Enterprise, allowing remote team members a way to view the output of Media Composer wherever they may be. But you are only able to have one option stream out at one time. Now you can send the output of Media Composer through NDI, SRT, and your I/O hardware at the same time. Accessed through the Hardware-Software button on the timeline panel, you can enable your devices and stream to anyone who you've given access to. Control panels for each hardware interface or streaming plugin can be accessed individually from the context menu by choosing Configure, which opens the Avid I/O Manager. And depending on whether you select the software, hardware, or both, the icons in the playback will be reflected by the current state that's activated. And here's a little extra tidbit with some technology that we previewed recently at IBC. We are working on an improved interop between Media Composer and Pro Tools that will enable you to export an actual Pro Tools session directly from Media Composer. This will package together a video file for reference as well as audio effects and tracks that will open up from a generated .ptx file into Pro Tools. Now again, this is only a tech preview of this interop between picture and sound editorial. There's more to come as this is designed and developed, so stay tuned. Each new release of Avid Media Composer has something for everyone, and this one isn't any different. From those just trying it out for the first time and starting your editing career, to those who've been creating amazing television shows, documentaries, and more for years. As always, thank you for your time and talent, and we'll see you again soon.